Good afternoon. Afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Excuse me, making sure I'm coming through okay. Paul, how you doing, pal? Good to see you back. Thanks for joining. Hope everybody's well. I don't know if a few of you have sore heads today. I certainly have a sore head today after yesterday or after last night watching the footy. But yeah, getting a bit too old for that, I think now. A few two beers usually causes a 2-day hangover now. So I'll be quite glad when the Euros are done to get some proper rest. Anyway, to be young again, huh? Okay, let's talk market, shall we? And there's a few, there's a few good things setting up that I'll go into, certainly with the fake outs and on those Euro pairs. So I'll go into that in a little bit. We'll do the indexes and the dollar first. Now this index is kind of doing what we expected it to do. It took probably, maybe 12 hours longer than we thought, and it didn't do it exactly as planned because, I thought it might come back and give us a harder ABC. We did get a slight fake or a slight break into all-time highs, but, I didn't see that sustaining just with the Fed statement last night, just with that uncertainty in the markets, just with a little bit of COVID coming back in, and I thought we may be heading for a little drop, and that's what we're getting now with the index. Now, I'll bring this up because this is quite interesting, right? So this is the currency strength meter. Now, if we look at this, that is full-blown risk off, right? Swiss in the end, very strong. Aussie, New Zealand, CAD, very weak, right? So that is full-blown risk off, right? That's stereotypical, theoretical risk off. Those commodity currencies weak, and those risk off currencies strong. Now, what I think potentially in the index moving forward is, this is obviously a very bearish bar. If we close like this, we can expect probably a little bit more downward movement. As we know, stocks fall a hell of a lot quicker than they rise. So you might see some sort of steep sell-off. Whether that's been done now, whether this is enough for the market, we'll have to wait and see. We haven't got an indication yet that this is over. What may, and if we take this from a larger perspective here, really we haven't had a corrective since, this was a great trade, by the way. This was I remember that day because this was the day after I got the COVID jab, and that was like a kind of nice signal there. And look at that trade from a kind of technical point of view. Maybe we get something similar to this. Remember, markets have a memory. Possibly. We don't have any inclination yet that it's over. If we do get that on smaller time frames of a possible slightly movement back up, I just don't see it. I can see for the remainder of the week. It's Thursday today, right? I can just see downward movement for the remainder of the week, unless the ECB comes out. I believe that's tomorrow. That's something that kind of calms the jitters that we're getting in the market. So let me know what your thoughts. What are you expecting out the index? What do you feel about yesterday's statement? For me, my bias intraday is certainly negativity. I've got there my risk sentiment risk on, but I've just not changed that. For me, it's you still got to say it's risk on from a larger time frame perspective, but intraday, it's with that currencies that are strong and weak, you've got to say it's risk off. So longer term risk on, intraday risk off. If we do get a close like this, maybe we come back and retest this area again. We're just waiting for that market to tell us what it wants to do, and at the moment it's telling me it wants to drop, and usually it drops quite quickly. If we look at the dollar, now, again, the dollar was looking quite good this morning. We're getting a little bit of a reaction here. I have to be honest with you guys, I don't like any of these charts. I have to be completely honest. In the index and in the dollar, I don't like any of these charts. We're getting some downward movement here now. Do I expect dollar strength? I still do expect dollar strength. I think that's where the momentum is. I still think buying the dollar is against those commodity currencies is probably good plays. Buying the Swiss, buying the yen for intraday against those commodity currencies is obviously, the odds are stacking in your favor. From a daily perspective, although again, I don't like this, we could be heading for potential rising wedge, right? I've just noticed that now. Potential rising wedge here in the dollar. I think we probably get up here, but if we get a kind of structure like that, right, potentially moving up into that area, then you could see a sharp move down in that dollar, potentially. Now that's if that structure develops, as if it even breaks, etc. I do still believe in dollar strength moving forward, but we may get a little bit of a wobble here. I just don't buy it as much as the SPX. So yeah, watch out for that. If we do see on smaller time frames that momentum to the downside kind of reducing, yeah, you could get a movement back up in the dollar, but you know, it's still a bearish engulfer. So again, with the SPX, with this dollar, there's these conflicting messages, you know, bias to the long upside, there's bias to the short side. It's just a little bit messy. I just don't like it. I don't like any of those charts. And that's okay sometimes, you know, I'm not trading them, so we don't have to make sense of it. As long as we're trading well, or we pick good trades, then it's fine. But, you know, these index analysis and dollar analysis can help you within your trading, certainly to get that risk sentiment anyway. Okay, let's talk about my position. So I did look at, I'll do my actual breakouts and breakout retests before I go into the fakes, but I was looking at this pound USD. Obviously now dollar's coming off. We look to be breaking to the downside. We've not properly braked at this point, but I'm still wanting this break to downside, retest to go short on the pound USD. It's going with the trend. You know, we had this push down, corrective, pushing on now, corrective, pushing on now, kind of reload back to that 20. There is a 4-hour hammer here on decent volume, but again, we're only interested if it does break and if it does retest. So it's just on the watch list today, and it still looks okay. You know, you wouldn't really want this to break above this anchor unless we kind of get a complex to move down, break out to the downside. So I'll keep an eye on it. If the dollar does want to weaken off, obviously that goes away, but it's just something I'm watching. Another one that I'm watching is this USD Hong Kong dollar. So this is quite good to see. So this could have almost, well, this was almost a breakout trade. Okay, we had a big V reversal here followed by a cut with handle. Now, if you remember my kind of 50% rule, I just needed a little bit more in this handle section for me to be able to take this trade. Because if we consider this as a cut with handle, you kind of need, well, for me personally, I wanted to see a bit more before that break. So I couldn't take that as a breakout, but potentially here, we've got a breakout retest. Okay, so we've got the context on the hourly chart, larger cut with handle, nice volatility contraction here prior to this break, breaking through on decent volume, and now we're waiting for that retest to come in whichever form it likes to, whether it be a complex, a steady state, etc. Let that 20 catch up before again continuing that to the upside. The good thing here is we've broken through this daily wick, right, which I always do like to see. Yes, we have a little bit of resistance here, but that's okay. I think there's enough there for 1-to-1 RR. And you know, big outside bullish engulfer. This looks good to the upside, and let's just wait and see whether we actually get the setup or not. So USD Hong Kong dollar to the upside looks no bad. All right, let's dive into this euro, because this euro is quite exciting to me. Now, if we firstly, excuse me, 1 second, guys. If we take this, right, highs of this range here. So we broken multiple areas on this push through. And yes, you can say, well, this is a head and shoulders, complete risk off. You know, those commodity currencies are weak, etc. Yeah, that's fine. That's the premise of this fake out strategy, right? You're going to buy the weakness because this is where the extension is coming from that weakness or, you know, overwhelming strength in one of the currency pairs. But look how we've broken through this structure, right? Completely extended, right? We had this big push up here. Okay, this was okay as a retracement back, but again, look at the gap between the 20 and price action. So we've got our break, right? We've got a massive extension here. It is the euro, selling the euro. That's exactly what we want to do. Climactic, you know, everything here is ticking the boxes, right? I know on the daily chart you might say, well, this looks good to the upside. I mean, that doesn't matter to me. We're looking at sell opportunities. we look at this volume as well coming in, right? Volume coming in at the top of this structure, and certainly looking for a catalyst for entry here to go short, whether it be a hammer. Ideally, this kind of comes up and gives us a nice hammer to potentially enter this to the downside for a nice fake out trade. So let's hopefully that comes. The more extended, the better, right? So if this continues on to go, then great. I don't mind that at all. You know, we're looking for, look at the difference here between this and then this, right? That is not sustainable. I know the CAD's weak, I know oil's coming off, but you know, these things just can't continue. So if this wants to continue in this trajectory, by all means, you know, go all, and then give us our nice catalyst, because they are susceptible to, you know, snapbacks. And you wouldn't need a lot to make a decent RR. Lamb, how you doing, mate? Hope you're well. Why is the yen and Swiss so strong? Well, because it's a bit of risk off, Lamb. It's a bit of a risk off nature. The stocks are falling a bit, and those traditional safe haven currency pairs, safe haven assets, the yen and the Swiss are strong. So it's just people moving their money to safe havens because of that uncertainty in the market. So that's why I analyze the index on a daily basis, is because we're wanting to get that risk sentiment. And you know, if stocks are falling, you'd expect those risk off currencies to be strong. Stocks are pushing, you'd expect those risk-on currencies to be strong. So the Aussie, New Zealand, the CAD, etc. So that's why those two are strong today. EA as well. EA is another one that again extended into this level, a level break that, you know, I would never take. And again, if we can get a catalyst, this is not a catalyst. Obviously, it needs to jump out to you on the page. Whether it be, ideally, it comes in the form of a hammer, but like a nice long wicked hammer, if that makes sense, on some high volume for potentially shorting that particular currency pair. That EA looks okay. Actually, let's go through these euro pairs to see. So EURCAD, I probably think that's my favorite out of all of them. Euro Swiss, the Swiss is strong, so this is coming down, right? That's irrelevant. What else do we have? Euro Pound. Euro Pound is not a setup because, again, there's no real extension there. We've had a push through. We've not had a level break, and you know, this is fine. This is, you know, I wouldn't consider that to be a fake out trade on Euro Pound. What else do we have? Euro Yen. Euro Yen, there's nothing there. So you can see the difference, right, between these and what we're actually looking for. So again, with EN, we've not really broken structure here. So for me to consider it as a fake out, you know, it's got to break somewhere roughly around this area. So if this continues the upside and goes to here, then yeah, definitely look for potential sell opportunities at that level. Although in saying that, that's a decent hammer here, but just because it's a decent hammer doesn't mean I can take it. So Euro NZD, and finally Euro USD. And Euro USD again, nothing there. So I think EA and certainly ECAD is something I'll be watching for the rest of the day. You know, every half an hour, I'll just come back, check the charts. Every half an hour, wait for that, hopefully that hammer. And, you know, if I can get something, considering that, you know, the likelihood is I might get a USD Hong Kong dollar trade, but because the markets are not great and I've got that 30 days, I've got to pick a trade from somewhere. And I'll certainly use that. I'm not trading on my real account, by the way. I'm not, because I don't have that enough data, but on these challenges, I'm okay to do that. So, yeah. ECAD, EA, and USD Hong Kong dollar longs is what I'm looking at for potential breakout recess there. Again, I like that. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. There's not much else for me to talk about today. I will be back on tomorrow. I mean, normally, I don't know whether you guys, tell me, do you prefer a kind of shorter stream, a 20-minute one where I just kind of go through, no bullshit, this is what I'm looking at. You know, the streams I do on A1 are like an hour long, but I think that's probably a bit too long. You know, I think 20 minutes you can get enough information out there and exactly what I'm looking at. But let me know what you guys think. Do you like longer streams? You want me to go into more detail? Or is a kind of 20-minute, you know, I presume a few of you will know my kind of style now, I guess. So you can kind of catch on a bit quicker. But maybe for the newbies, it'll be a bit more hard to follow. Anyway, let me know in the chat if you like these kind of quick and off you go ones, because it's at the end of the day, that's what I like. You know, this is one of the reasons why I set up the YouTube, is because I can do my morning scan, you know, 40 minutes in the morning, and that's me done for the day. You know, I can look at the pairs, and you know, really that's it. You know, you don't need to go in so detailed and, you know, look at the charts all day. You don't need to do that. At the end of the day, it's passive income, right? That's what we want from it, passive income. So you got to think about it from that nature. Short and sweet is good. Okay, good. Yeah, I agree. All right, guys, appreciate you coming. I got a few new subs on the channel in the last few days, so thank you for that. If you haven't subscribed, hit that sub button, and I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place, and keep an eye for that EURCAD. All right, guys, take care. Peace.